The angels, the sons of God, resemble who we call in ufology the Nordics or the Pleiadians, who are these beings who very much look like us. The misconception is that the fallen angels have a different appearance than the good angels. The bad guys look different than the good guys. The good guys are these beautiful angelic beings, and the fallen angels are these grotesque, demonic-looking entities with horns, and they're the typical Hollywood depictions of demons. But that's ludicrous. That is completely illogical. These entities, these beings, hail from the same race.
What? Lucifer is an angel, a fallen angel.
My name is Timothy Albrino, and you are watching End Times Productions.
Earth angel.
Angel?
Yeah?
An angel. Made again.
I seen the angel of death.
So what you saying? You looking at some big black angel got sit down here to snatch your hunky ass out of there at the last possible minute?
The angel called us God's hands.
So we're like superheroes?
Every time that human beings encounter angelic beings within the biblical narrative, the description of the angels is always the same. They look like men. Indeed, Paul says that it's possible to entertain angels unawares, which means that you can confuse them for human beings. They're not human beings. They are, in fact, an extraterrestrial, non-human race, a pre-existent extraterrestrial, non-human race. But they are also sons of God, just like Adam was a son of God. And so it makes sense, therefore, that all the sons in the family bear the same semblance. They look the same, and they resemble their father. And it is my contention that both mankind and the elder race, the human race and the elder race, bear the image of God. There is no scripture in the Bible anywhere that states that mankind is the exclusive bearer of God's image. Rather, it just says that we were made in the image and likeness of the Elohim. And so we look like them because they are our elder siblings. We are reproductively compatible with them. So we are very similar, even physiologically, although they are of a higher nature. And so then the question is, what do they look like? And I think the answer is apparent within the canonized text of Scripture. They look like us, but with some differences. And we know that there has to be some differences because Lot was able to recognize them when they were approaching the city of Sodom. Lot saw two angels approaching and instantly was able to recognize that these were sons of God, emissaries from the kingdom of heaven. Now, how could he have recognized these angels? Because they looked human enough to where they could pass through town and be taken as exotic human beings, but they had distinctive trademarks, hallmarks, that were calling cards that they were not human beings and that they were indeed angels, that Lot recognized these hallmarks. And it also explains why the men of Sodom were so attracted to these exotic men who had entered the city. And I would imagine that these angels, when they entered Sodom, that they probably had cloaks on, maybe they were covering their heads and you could only see their faces, but from their faces, from what you could discern on their faces, they probably had blue eyes, fair skin, golden blonde hair, white or golden blonde hair. And oftentimes I get accused of being racist when I describe angels in this way. But what people don't realize is that this is actually the ancient Hebrew perception, conceptualization of what the sons of God look like. When you read the book of Enoch, at the very end of the book of Enoch, there is a fragment inserted into the story from the book of Noah. Now, whether or not the book of Enoch and the book of Noah are true accounts, they are ancient Hebrew accounts. They are part of the Hebrew cosmology. In other words, they are representative of the way that the Hebrews thought and conceptualized the world. And so in these fragments from the book of Noah, again found at the end of the book of Enoch, we have this strange story, this account that is being presumably recorded by Enoch, in which Lamech, the father of Noah, is distressed because his wife has just given birth to Noah. And when Noah came out of the womb, he had fair skin. So according to these fragments from the book of Noah, Lamech's wife was pregnant. And when she gave birth to her son, Noah, Lamech was extremely distressed when he saw this baby. Why? Because the baby resembled a son of God, one of the sons of God. And remember, Lamech, when Noah's born, Lamech is familiar with the sons of God, the watchers who created all this havoc, right? So he sees Noah come through the birth canal and pop out, and he looks like one of the sons of God. And so obviously Lamech is concerned because here he has a son that's coming. How can I say this? I almost feel like just reading it. This is what he says. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angel. Maybe I should just read this. Should I just read this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this will just make it, because I think this is an important point. So this is the account from the book of Noah, in the fragments of the book of Noah inserted into the book of Enoch. And after some days, my son Methuselah, this is presumably Enoch writing, and after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him, and bore him a son. And his body was white as snow, and red as the blooming of a rose. And the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes were beautiful, probably meaning that they were distinct from other men's eyes. In other words, they were probably blue or green or something like that. And when he opened his eyes, he lighted up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. And thereupon he arose in the hands of the midwife, opened his mouth, and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him, and fled, and came to his father Methuselah. And he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike man, and resembling the sons of God. And his nature is different, and he is not like us, and his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I fear that in his days a wonder may be brought on the earth. So, whether or not this story is true, is literally true, and it may not be, it still gives us insight into how the ancient Hebrews conceptualized the sons of God. How did they conceptualize the sons of God? Fair skin, bright, probably blue or green eyes or clear eyes, white or blonde hair, basically like Scandinavians. And I contend that this angelic race is probably 6.5 to 7 feet tall because of some other indications elsewhere in extra-biblical texts. And so this is why I say that the angels, the sons of God, resemble what we call in ufology, the Nordics or the Pleiadians, who are these beings who very much look like us, but their physiology have these very same descriptive qualities. They are fair-skinned, they're tall, 6.5, 7 feet tall, they have blonde or golden blonde hair, they have bright blue eyes or bright green eyes. This is not a commentary on race or something like that. This is simply referencing the ancient Hebrew conceptualization of the sons of God. The members of the elder race are represented by both the good guys and the bad guys. There's this misconception among Christians that there's good angels and bad angels. There's the good angels who are still loyal to the Father, and then there's the quote-unquote fallen angels. And the term fallen angel is a bit of a contrivance. It's not actually a biblical term. We all understand what's meant by it. The angels that rebelled and are in a state of insurrection. They're reprobates. They have become the enemies of God, the enemies of the King and of the kingdom of heaven. These are the fallen angels. The misconception is that the fallen angels have a different appearance than the good angels. The bad guys look different than the good guys. The good guys are these beautiful angelic beings, much like the description here from the fragments of Noah. And the fallen angels are these grotesque, demonic-looking entities with horns, and they're the typical Hollywood depictions of demons. But that's ludicrous. That is completely illogical. These entities, these beings, hail from the same race. They're the same race. They probably speak the same language. They have the same knowledge. They most likely are operating the same technology, the same technological implements. Why wouldn't they be? They're from the same race. The fallen angels were at one time good angels, non-fallen angels, if you will. They were loyal to the king until they were disloyal. So they come from the same culture, and I think that word is very appropriate when we talk about the kingdom of heaven. It is a kingdom. It's not this ethereal spiritual concept. It has locality. It is in every way very much like what we are familiar with as it pertains to civilization and culture and society. It has a court. It has a judicial system. It has a standing army. Angels eat and drink. The Israelites ate the bread of heaven. In Psalms it says that they ate the grain of heaven, the sustenance of the angels. So how do you get grain? You harvest wheat. So I think that we are entitled to make these logical extrapolations. If the Israelites are eating the grain of heaven, that means that that grain was processed from some kind of wheat. And I think we can go so far as to say some kind of extraterrestrial wheat that was harvested on somewhere else in the cosmos. So it's a civilization, and they have all the implements of a civilization. And in fact, their civilization, the civilization of the elder race, is the prototype of ours. It pre-exists ours. Our civilization is a shadow of theirs. In other words, our institutions are based on the institutions that pre-existed us. Angels, the kingdom of heaven has a standing army. And this is apparent all over the Old Testament and the New Testament. In fact, one of the most common names, titles of the God of Israel is the Lord of armies, the Lord of hosts. And that word hosts is it's a militaristic term, the Lord of armies. Why do armies exist? To protect the borders of a sovereign realm. Armies don't exist without a civilization. The conversation you heard today, the content of this conversation is detailed in my book, Birthright, The Coming Post-Human Apocalypse and the Usurpation of Adam's Dominion on Planet Earth. You can follow me on YouTube. My channel is just my name, Timothy Alberino. I have a Birthright lecture series. It's a lecture series based on the content of the book that is ongoing, that is a really good companion to the book, and obviously the lecture series is free, so you can follow me on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. My handle is always the same, Timothy Alberino.